friends, guests, distinguished authority, distinguished scholars and speakers, I give the floor to His Excellency Ambassador Barbanti for his opening remarks on his second day of the first symposium of the Italian Archaeological Missions in Israel. We are glad to have you here, Ambassador, in Acre and the Jerusalem.
So I will not bore you to tears saying again what I said yesterday. What I'd like to mention, just besides the pleasure of being here myself and of seeing so many people attending the conference in Acre, is that we were very satisfied of the results we attained yesterday. It was a very fruitful day, and just to mention something, we agreed on the need for a common interdisciplinary shared view of archaeology, which includes social inclusion, training and education, management, knowledge. So a way to proceed forward. But this is also what we thought it is important for this symposium, is just a first step in order to relaunch the cooperation between Italy and Israel in a field which is widening day by day, including other disciplines, which before maybe they were not strictly part of what we meant by archaeology. It was also along the possibility to establish a joint teams in order to access EU funds. This is something very interesting also because we need resources to do things, and the European Union can help us in that. And also the idea, which has already been partly implemented, of a double degree in the field of archaeology. This already exists between Haifa and Padua. So also training and education done jointly. And finally, the possibility of a bilateral agreement between Italy and Israel in the field of archaeology. Italy's Prime Minister visited Israel a few months ago. The idea was to convene a G2G, which is in technical terms, it means an intergovernmental ministerial meeting, which should have been taken place now in autumn. Then, of course, political, the crisis of government in Italy and also in Israel shortly after didn't make it possible to organize this now, but it was in our idea also to include an agreement on archaeology in what this summit with ministers, different ministers, could have implied. So we keep this in mind anyway, because it is a very important part in the bilateral relations. Now, this was yesterday. Now, today we decided to move to Acre. This is a city which well symbolizes the tight bonds between Italy and Israel, between pilgrimages and commercial routes. Acre was one of the first sites, together with Caesarea and Beit Shean, to be the subject of one of the first sites of an archaeological mission as early as the 60s. So over 60 years that we worked together in this part of the world. As Professor Eugenio Battisti proposed, the first systematic study of the Italian places in Acre in collaboration with the Technion University of Art. Tradition that was lately continued by Professor Baraldo and today by Professor Benedetto. Professor Candini, who is here with us today, will open today with his view about the ancient complex relations between Italy and the end of Israel. Father Aliata, which is the director of the Flagellation Museum, will deliver a speech on the new sources concerning the Franciscan presence after the fall of Acre. Professor Boaretto on Roman architecture in Jerusalem, and Kobi Shaldit on underwater findings in Rome and Caesarea. Thank you all for your contribution. The second session today will represent a number of Italy-Israeli collaboration in underwater archaeology based on technologies and financed by European programs or national funds. Professor Allotta and Scaradozzi, Dr. Ashwell, and Professor Artioli Archishelach from the National Maritime Museum of Haifa, and last but not least, the fascinating first results of the exams of the Crusader sword found in the waters of Haifa, from Joppe to Oscar. This is a program for today. I think that is really one of the first chapters of many things to do. The Embassy of Italy in Israel will do its best to make it sure that what we will do in the future will cope with the expectations which are launched today. Thank you very much.
What works of yesterday and take note of what we can do with the new agreement on archaeology between Italy and Israel. That's what we will work hardly in the next month for the concrete follow-up. I should say also that we will have an archaeological aperitif, so please stay 1:30 because we will have the young researchers, Italian researchers in the country, having an interview with Professor Barretto and telling us how do they find their experience in the country and what they are studying about. Now I thank really our friends from Acre, particularly the Deputy Mayor Adham, that will come and give his opening remarks for this seminar, for this comment. Thank you, and please you have the floor, Adham.
Buongiorno, benvenuti ad Acre. In nome del nostro sindaco Missionsin, in nome del dirigente dell'Agenzia di Sviluppo della Città Vecchia, il signor Jamal Barbanti, siamo contenti di ospitarvi qui, specialmente con l'ambasciatore d'Italia in Israele. Grazie molto. Abbiamo l'onore di ospitarvi qui. Parlo adesso in ebraico un po' perché da tanto tempo che non ho parlato l'italiano, per me è molto difficile di continuare. בשם ראש העיר שמעון לנקרי, בשם המנכ"ל של החברה לפיתוח עכו העתיקה יובל ברט, מברכים אתכם בכנס הזה בעכו. המקום הזה יפה, בעיר היפה, חשובה לי, ואני חושב שהיא העיר היפה בארץ, אולי אחרי ירושלים, אולי באותו...
Okay, I was requested to translate. I cannot refuse a vice mayor. Benvenuti, welcome in the name of the mayor of Acre, Mr. Shimon Lakri, and the Society for the Development of Acre. And I think we are gathered here in one of the most beautiful, or the most beautiful city in Israel, which is Acre. Maybe Jerusalem can compete with it. I'm changing a bit the original.
הקשרים בין איטליה לישראל הם חשובים לנו מאוד, במיוחד לעיר עכו, שהיא עיר בת אלפי שנים, העיר שמורה, וההשראה של שימור העיר העתיקה, אנחנו כל כך לומדים מאיטליה, ובגלל זה יש לנו קשרי העיר תאומה בין עכו לבין שתי ערים. עכשיו יש לנו העיר פיזה של העיר תאומה בין עכו לפיזה, ובקרוב אנחנו בונים גם, יש הסכם שיתופי פעולה, ובקרוב גם נבנה קשרי העיר תאומה בין עכו לבין ג'נובה.
The history of Acre is a long history of thousands of years, and Acre has prospered under these ties, and now we have an agreement, the city of Acre with the city of Pisa, and the next thing to do is on our agenda is the Jumelaggio, is the twin city agreement with between Genova and Acre, and many things related to it.
מה שמאפיין את העיר עכו, שהיא עיר ייחודית, בנוסף לשימור ולאתרים היסטוריים בזה, זה החיים המשותפים בין כלל התושבים בעכו. פה בעיר עכו חיים ביחד יהודים וערבים, בין הערבים זה נוצרים, מוסלמים, דרוזים, בהאים, חיים בהרמוניה כל כך יפה שהיא מקור השראה לכל, אני חושב גם באזור וגם לכל העולם, שאפשר לחיות ביחד. ופה גם בעולם הזה אתם יכולים לראות את איך נמצאים כולם ביחד, יהודים, ערבים, נוצרים, מוסלמים, מכל הקשת, וזה מה שמאפיין את העיר עכו לפני העבר שלה וההיסטוריה שלה.
Part of the big challenge of conserving the part, what the thing that Mr. Vice Mayor mentioned is the cohabitation, is the beautiful coexistence of all minorities in Acre between Arabs and Jews, Muslim Jews, Bedouins, Baha'is, all those minorities. And this is, he says, most important even before dealing with the rich history.
ناخذ لكن منبورين كناس يعني محترين بدورين خدشين بتدار بكون وضعي.
Issue a fertile discussion and symposium. Welcome and have a nice and successful conference.